On the latest episode of Everyday Conversations with me, Portia Foxx, I will be speaking to the CFO of the PRT, Ms. Dominika Brown. Make sure that you stay tuned in and find out how she's this young doing this big old job. It's Everyday Conversations. It's Everyday Conversations with Portia Foxx, and I told you I had an amazing guest today. I have Ms. Dominika Brown. Woo! You're probably like, who is that? Well, she is the CFO of the PRT. They changed the name. It is Pittsburgh Regional Transit. It used to be Port Authority. Mm-hmm. If you're from the city of Pittsburgh, you're very familiar with the bus. Okay, that's why we chose to do the interview on a bus, because it brings me home. Mm-hmm. And you actually pitched the idea and gave me this big old grin. I'm like, oh, we could do the incline. So the thought of it, you participating in dropping this out there, thank you very much.
Oh yeah,
I love the bus effect. They're going to talk stuff like, oh, why y'all on that dirty bus?
Oh, no.
We're not doing that. Yeah, I'm about to say all the time,
mm-hmm.
even as adults. Okay, so before that, how much of your youth pertain to riding the bus? Like, I mean, I'm from the east side, so I took the 94B, the 94A, the 81B over to Lincoln. So are you familiar the same type of way too? You was taking a bus when you was
younger? Yeah, absolutely. I always took the bus. Well, I went to Shenley, so we didn't have yellow school buses. We took the bus. What was that?
The Tripper?
81B.
Yep.
Every day. I used to lose my bus pass all the time and talk the bus drivers into letting me ride for free.
Like, you know I'm on a bus? You know about this is my bus.
Right. So yeah, I took the bus all the time.
What year did you graduate?
05.
05. I was just like, I know that we're kind of close in age, but I was like, no, my girl was out here really like doing big things in such a... 05 was exactly 20 years. So did you do your reunion this year?
I did not. I had a few conflicts
you was busy.
during that weekend.
You were busy, weren't you?
I wasn't able to participate in any of the events. But I saw the pictures and everybody looked great. It looked like it was a good time.
They were missing. It's always that one person who's in the class that was super cool, but they're busy now. They're doing all this. Like, I couldn't make it to the reunion. I was out running to be the president. You were like, oh, that is awesome. We'll think of them whenever they're. You were there in the spirit, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Fun fact, I did not go to Older Dice, but that's like my surrogate school. So I skipped over there a couple times just because my mom went there, and I always wanted to be a Spartan. There is something legendary about being a Spartan. I'm sure there's something legendary about being a Highlander, also a dragon, but Spartans are definitely cool.
Definitely.
So yeah, credit to you and your school. You have done a lot, like I said, from being a hairstylist to just jumping into the world of finances for one of the biggest companies in the city.
Yeah.
So what was that transition? What made you say, you know what, I'm putting my shares and my cones down and I want to count some big money? Like, what made you do that?
So I went to cosmetology school right out of high school, but I started working in a natural choice in Oakland when I was 17.
Okay.
I started trying to get the job when I was 16.
Wow.
But Nate Mitchell, who owns Natural Choice, he didn't want to hire me. He thought I was too young.
Okay.
So he kept giving me the runaround. He'd say, oh, well, give me a call back in a month. Give me a call back on this date. Give me a call back at this time. I'm busy, but we can chat then. And so I just kept following up every time he gave me, the okie doke.
Okay.
And I came in, did like a test style on I brought someone in with me. He didn't even show up. Like, he had another one of the stylists see my work, and they were like, oh yeah, we can hire her. And the way I even got into doing hair was that I had a lot of siblings, and my mom, I used to do their hair.
Okay.
So and then to make money throughout high school, middle school, things like that, I babysat and I braided hair.
I mean, that was a hustle, a smart hustle. It gets you a lot of places. So are you the oldest or the youngest or the middle? Middle.
I'm the middle child.
How many of it?
3 brothers and 3 sisters.
3 brothers. So you're smack dab in the middle.
Yep.
So you did everybody's hair. That's how it happens. My aunts would say, well, every hairstylist that I know started doing somebody, a sibling's hair or a best friend's hair or their friends from school or however that works out. And you said 16, you were going to the Natural Choice to go and bug Nate. So was that your salon that you went to for your own services, or what made you go to Natural Choice? Was it just the place to be? Because I mean, the Natural Choice always had a name. A shout out to DJ Nate, and always had a name. It was a very big part of the black hair scene, especially around that time and still, today. But when you needed natural hair care, it was called the Natural Choice. People literally just would go there off of the name. So that wasn't your hair salon?
No. So the way I even learned about the shop was I had a friend at the church that I went to, and I used to braid his hair, and he decided he wanted to start his locks.
Okay.
And he said, oh, well, I'm going to go here to start my locks, and you need to come and watch them do it so that you can do it too.
Okay.
I'm like, okay. So I went, I watched, and then I started doing his as well.
Wow.
And then I needed a job, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try and work there. And so I just started calling him about it.
So 16, so 17, you did that. After you graduated in 2005, you went straight into cosmetology school. I'm guessing Empire?
Yes, I went to Empire Monroeville, took the bus there. I lived in Oakland at the time on North, Craig Street.
So you took the 67?
Yep, took the 67.
All the way?
Every day to Monroeville and then back. So I would go out there all day and then come back and work at the shop in the evenings.
You did morning classes. You did the morning. You was getting
the all day.
The all day. So for those who don't know, when you go to cosmetology school, you get two options. You can go morning or you go in the evening. Evening is a lot more 9 to 5 friendly. If you work a full-time job, you would go in the evening, and it's a few more hours. But if you go during the daytime, it's cram city. So you're going to I experienced it, and then I dropped out.
I mean, it was pretty intense.
It was, but I had been doing hair since 16. Around that time, I used to work at in Homewood Cut and Curl.
Okay.
I used to be a shampoo girl there. I worked under my aunt, so very similar story as far as that. The only difference was when I started at the hair school, I had every intention to finish, but then I got a call from Whammo. So I started working there. I said, all right, pack these tools up, pack them up, pack them up. I love doing hair. There's really a passion behind that. Do you feel, so I feel like to be successful in the hair game, you have to care about people, their hair, what they're going through. You felt like you were in the right realm at the right time for that experience in your
absolutely.
life?
I built a ton of connections through hair. And even, my daughter was young when I was doing hair. And so whenever I decided to go back to school, a lot of the village that I built to support me throughout all of that was through my clients. Awesome. I had a couple clients actually whose kids went to the school that my daughter went to, but they were in high school and they babysat for her. Another one of my clients was a teacher, and she tutored my daughter when she was in kindergarten and first grade. And also Amina's my daughter, so she would, during her breaks, go into the schools that teacher teach that and kind of TA with the classes, with the kindergarten and first grade classes. Yeah,
I'm saying it's so cool because it's so cool to have community. That's a lot of community, and again, you get back what you put out. So it seems that you gave a lot. And they gave a lot back into you, they poured into you to kind of cheer you on for everything. I love that. That's a great story. So now we're in a transition. Amina, you're going through school. You went to, and if I read this online, so correct me if I'm wrong, you went and got your associates in business first at CCAC, correct? Yeah. So, and how old were you when you did that? Because now you're going back to school. This is after you did the hair thing. This is when it just kicked in. I want to do something different. And was it I want to do something different?
Yeah. So I wasn't working at the Natural Choice anymore. I had a shop set up in my basement in the house that I lived in, and I wanted to just learn more about business and be able to run a business properly. Right. I had a lot of learned experience. I worked at Nate's for 4 years. In that time, I had become the manager. So I did a lot of monitoring the money that came in, picking up supplies when they were needed, scheduling, things of that nature, dealing with client issues, things like that. So I wanted to just get better business acumen and have a better understanding of what exactly it was that I was doing, considering maybe growing that. So I went to TCAC. Okay. And I was studying business. And my grandmother, she said, well, you shouldn't just focus on business.
Okay.
It's really broad. What else could you do with that if you decide to do something else? And at the time I was in an accounting class, and I was like, okay, well, I like accounting.
Okay.
This is cool, so I'll focus on accounting. So that's kind of how that happened.
So you kind of fell into it, and then I'm guessing that you, again, you seem very focused, and I'm not the biggest person that's like, what's your zodiac sign? But I kind of do. Like, I mean, I think that it just speaks to people's characteristics more. But what is your sign?
I'm a Libra.
You're a Libra?
My birthday was, 2 Thursdays
You're
ago?
balanced. That's why I'm
9th.
listening to you talk, and I'm just like, there's a balance here.
Oh, thank you.
Which is refreshing, because that means that you never put yourself in a box.
I try my best not to. I try to always consider, and I think that the last few years since I've been with PRT has been like a crash course on change and being flexible.
Yeah.
And so I recently read this book called Who Moved My Cheese?
I've heard of it. I've never read it, but I now have to officially.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a quick read. It's like this big. It's a short story at best. And it talks about, whatever your goals are, and being willing to focus only on your goals and be able to move with change. Essentially, that's what it talks about. But it was a cool story about, focusing and being able to do that. And I tend to try and do that.
Clearly, you wouldn't have been able to fold over and to just continue to keep going. And then you didn't stop. You did not stop. So let's be clear. There's more of a journey here with school for sure. And shout out to you, because at a certain age, your brain's just like, I don't want to go to school. Like, really, I got to do this. And I'm trying to focus on my job and trying to pivot this, but now I'm focusing on school. But because of that discipline that you have, it allows you to kind of just keep rolling. So 2007 was your educational career again, your collegiate experience, and then that ended in 2017.
So, 16, that's when I finished my master's.
Right.
So I started at CCAC, I think in 2012, 10, somewhere around there.
Ma'am, okay, so you got your associates.
22 probably around that time when I finished my associates. Or when I started, I would have been about 22. Because I was intentional about waiting until my daughter started kindergarten before I went back to school.
Yeah, so that you can dedicate that time, which was everything just worked out.
Yeah.
Everything was literally just kind of like laid out in the perfect order. That's so dope. How old is your daughter now?
18.
Oh, wow. Is that her senior year?
No, she's a freshman in college.
So we already did that last year. So now, are you an empty nester? Is she away at school? Is it just you again?
Yeah.
Wow.
Empty nester.
Are you enjoying
crazy.
that?
I am. I'm starting to. I didn't enjoy it at first, but actually my birthday weekend was her fall break, so she came home, and so of course everybody's coming over.
Right.
And it was my birthday, so everybody's coming over. But
right.
that Sunday we dropped her at the airport, and I went back home, and like once everyone left, I was like, oh wait, I like this. It's quiet again. Okay. I was like, wait, okay, I guess I am adjusting.
So being comfortable with being an empty nester, what is like one thing that you would like to do? Are you like a plant mom? Are you like a landscaper? Do you take great pride in doing your front yard? Do you knit? Do you sew? Do you still do hair on the side? What is a hobby that Miss Brown still does to kind of keep her brain sharp outside of counting numbers?
So at home, like at first, when she first left, like I just wouldn't go home.
Oh, you stayed outside?
Because it felt so empty. It felt like there was no life in the house, right? And she called me, and I'm just sitting in the car, and she's like, "Mom, what? Go in the house." And I'm just like, but
That's
or
so
like
sweet,
just randomly walking around the store for nothing.
You're just like, I need to go to Target. No, you don't.
Exactly.
No, you don't need to go to Market District.
Exactly.
You don't need another snack.
Right. But I started to just kind of like do little decorative and rearranging projects around the house and things like that. But something that I got into really heavily this summer and that I absolutely love is golf.
Really?
So golf has been, it's been it's so peaceful to me. Because golf is a game of like extreme, you have to be focused and calm in order to play consistently, right? And it's just you and yourself every time.
You make it sound so dreamy. And I'm looking at you talking, I'm like, I want to go golfing.
You should come. We can do that because I absolutely love it.
I am on a journey of about to turn 40, and I said to myself, I don't have any real hobbies enough besides watching documentaries and Dateline.
And listening to the podcast.
And listening to the podcast. And right, and I do have my own. I love to listen to podcasts. I love watching The Breakfast Club. I like to listen and those type of things. So when I'm like, I need to get more active. Gym is one thing, but I'm like, okay, gym is cool, but like there's other active. I was like, what about kayaking? What about mountain climbing? I said, wait a minute now, I don't know about the mountain climbing. I'm not, but I do want to jump out of an airplane. How do you feel about that? Would you jump out of an airplane?
I used to think I would, but that was when I was less risk averse.
Okay.
Now it's not something that I would consider at all. It's funny because I had met a guy and he wanted to take me on a date and he talked about going whitewater rafting, and that was the last time he talked to me because I'm like, this man is trying to kill me.
He said he didn't even have any insurance on you yet.
Exactly. I was like, wait a minute. No.
What is probably one of the most adventurous things that you have done on vacation, just here, like, and that you either loved or hated? You didn't have to love it, but it was the most adventurous thing that you have done, and you was like, you know what, fulfilled. Don't need to do it again, or I want to keep doing it.
I love to travel. Last year, my sister's birthday, we went to Colombia.
Okay.
And on the plane down, somebody was sitting next to her. They were talking about some festival that they were going there for. Okay. And so we're like, okay, we'll go to the festival. We buy tickets. We had to meet at some beach to hop on a boat to get to this island to go to the party. And the boats were literally like these little fishing boats that, like speed boats. And so we just prayed and we got on it. And they were just like, make sure whenever it's time to come back, you get on that first round of boats coming back because you don't want to ride on this water in the dark. We're like, no, we don't. But yeah, so I would say that was like, if I told my mom that story, she'd probably have a heart attack.
Yeah, because my heart dropped when you said on a boat, and in my mind it went to the boat, the little I call them jalopy boats, where it looked like there's water coming in them. Sometime you gotta like ditch it out. That's what my mind went to.
We all had life vests on.
But this was in the ocean though. You had to go to one part to another part in the ocean. In the ocean.
I mean, we survived, so it's okay.
I mean, you live. And that's the whole thing about doing the ocean experiences. Because once you make it out, you're like, I'm still alive. And I had the best time. Do I need to do it again? Would you do it again?
Yes,
you
probably.
Would?
Yeah, probably.
And how was the festival? Was it like everything?
It was fun, yeah. Because it was cool. It was like an Afrobeats thing. So there were people from all over. People from London, different islands, in the Caribbean, all over.
Yeah, that sounds
from the States. It was really cool.
I would have did it too. Yeah. I'm adventurous, but I would never have told my mom either.
No, I don't think I told her that. So I don't know if I did tell her that. My sister might have.
She was like, she got on this random boat that could have just tipped over. So that is very exciting. I'm trying to think. I went ziplining. I went to Mexico for the first time.
Ziplining is fun.
And I think that's to kind of revert back to the question about jumping out of an airplane, because I always said I wanted to jump out of an airplane, but then I did ziplining. And I said, maybe I got flying through the sky out of my system. I don't know, but if somebody was to say, let's do it, I might consider it, and I might check it out. But you know what? Life is to be lived, and we're out here living it.
Agreed.
All right, so we covered the educational portion. We covered the empty nester, and I'm wishing you the best with that. But you're so young. I'm about to say,
I am.
You're so young, so you have a lot of traveling and a lot of things to experience, and that's going to be very fun for you. You mentioned one of your book was, what was it again? The cheese book.
Oh yeah, Who Moved My Cheese?
Who Moved My Cheese? All right, so becoming a mom. Was it a younger age?
Yep, I had my daughter when I was 19.
When you were 19? That's not, I feel like over 18, it's like, you're an adult.
Yeah, I mean, when she was born, I lived on my own already, had my own place,
So how was that? Were you with her dad, or was it just you?
We were still together.
Awesome.
But I moved back in with my mom when it was closer to delivery, just to have that support with my mom.
Yeah.
And I stayed with my mom probably for about 3 months or so. Prior to moving back home.
Again, community, village, take advantage.
You got
people who want to be there,
Yeah, very important. There's nothing that I could have ever done without the people around me.
How's mom?
She's good.
Is she?
Yeah, my mom is good. She's gearing up to retire, so she's really happy about that. Awesome. Later on this year, her birthday is actually coming up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's dope. Okay, we love retirement, and in that place, you are in a position to kind of like, well, you're the middle child, so you don't have to really worry about being the elder or the next step or the super responsible one.
Although I am the middle child,
you are like one of the older ones. It can be like that.
Yeah, and I am kind of like that for my family, the anchor,
the grounding
person.
So you're the one that's hosting Thanksgivings and holidays.
Yep.
And do you love hosting?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that for you. You look like you are. I don't want to say Martha Stewart, but you're very much into taking care of. This is just what I'm just getting.
I am, yeah.
And just hosting, providing, and just being that overall person in the family. It gives the oldest, but you're not. So that's cool. Middle kids either tend to be, they have that, or they're like closer to the young. I'm also a middle child too, and I feel like I'm kind of in between. I could be childish when I want to.
Right, we fit in everywhere.
We fit in everywhere. The kids, our cousins love us. The nieces and nephews, they love us. They want to be with us. They also want to message us for money.
Yep, all the time.
All the time. So how has working with PRT been with all of the transitions that's going on? Is it stressful for you?
So in the job description, whenever I first applied, one of the things that it said is that you need to be able to manage stress well.
Okay, so that was listed.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You know it's stressful when they say that. Because normally they just would be like, oh, no, it's fine here. It's a great... No, they said you need to know how to handle stress.
Well, I think it's both, right? It's a great job. And everyone says that. Pretty much, I haven't heard anyone who works at PRT, despite their gripes, say that it's not a great job, because it really is.
Right.
And, you know, the beautiful thing about my boss, my CEO, is that she values us being whole people, right? And so she puts an emphasis on, okay, yeah, do what you have to do, get your work done, but also do what you have to do in order to be a person in well standing, right? So that you can provide a good working product.
Right, because you can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly.
So that's I don't think a lot of businesses, at least that I don't know of, some of them do have that culture, but it's few and far in between, especially with such a big entity like PRT. You wouldn't expect to hear that the CEO is saying, I want you to be a whole person. But that means a lot, because that means that she understands the importance of you all contributing to this bigger thing, and you really can't have because there's so many moving parts here. You're the CFO, but there's receptionists, there's secretaries, there's guards, there's drivers, there's mechanics. The list is endless. This is a full scope of work here that has every type of job. Public relations, communications. So you have to have some type of positive work environment. That is almost impossible to have in every. It's not impossible for the overall attitude to be that way, but I mean, you have to deal with people every day. Everybody's not going to be happy. So making sure that, I'm not happy. Okay, well, what can we do to make you happy? Is that something that you could go and say to your CEO?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But we have a ton of resources, employee resources, support in all types of ways. She's developed a lot of benefits even for parental leave and families who are responsible for caring for their elderly family members, or families who have young children in daycare, paying for your student loans and things of that nature, encouraging development professionally within organization and externally. We participate in a lot of things, and there's a lot available to us.
Where do you see yourself going, or how long do you feel like you'll stay here, and do you want to stay here till you retire? And then after that, where do you see yourself diving into? What would be the same? Would it be money again? Would it be your own business? Would it be about going back to a salon? What would it be? What does that look like for you?
So I can't say until retirement. I really just don't know what might happen. I know for me immediately, not being with PRT hasn't been something that I've considered.
You said no.
I have some immediate goals that I really want to accomplish and make sure that we see through. Obviously, a lot of people know about our funding crisis right now, and that's a big part of the work that I'm focused on right now. And also working with the communications and government relations team, visits to Harrisburg and DC and all of these other places that we're going, and also having people here, meetings constantly about our funding situation and trying to assist in finding a solution for fixing that.
So you're not just sitting at a desk. You're literally moving around.
Yeah, no.
Like, just because whenever you see this interview, she might have done 17 different things that were very pivotal, may have traveled to across the country to go speak in, I don't know, are you trying to find money? I don't even really want to get into all of that.
Yeah.
We're not going on. Because it's not about that. It's about you. This is why we're here. But if you want to know more about PRT, whatever they got going on, then visit the website. Would you like to give them the website?
Oh, yeah, it's radprt.org.
Radprt.org. I remembered it kind of. I just didn't want to mess it up.
Yep, that's it, right, Melissa? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's
I
it.
look to Melissa like.
Yeah, so don't be coming at my girl and leaving the comments under here asking about the buses. We're not discussing that. This is about Miss Brown, okay? Just get into it. I want you to be inspired, because the reason why I do this show is to talk about people and talk to people, because everybody has a story, but not everybody is utilizing their stories and telling their stories in the correct way, or they haven't had a chance to see what telling their story looks like. So again, upon meeting you, it was just like, girl, what? You're a CFO? How old are you? Wait, huh? And it was very much introduced as this is somebody that you should know. And absolutely, I got a new golf buddy. Apparently she's going to teach me the game, and I'm definitely happy for that. That is something to point out. As you're in this realm of professionalism and your career, how do you make time for yourself, your friends, self-care, and just to kind of, and support into you? Like, when do you say, stop, I need a break? You know what I'm saying? And are you good
Honestly,
with vocalizing that?
I do it as needed.
Okay.
Yeah, I do it as needed. I mean, sometimes there are times where I can't step away and maybe take a trip.
Right.
You know, go vacation, which has been my go-to.
Right.
But as I mentioned, like over the summer, you know, there wasn't much travel personally, because we needed to be available and focused for the conversations around funding. But golf has been it for me. Okay. You know, take steps away doing that. But also, you know, this position is very public, right? I have a lot of commitments to go and do a lot of different things in rooms that are full of a lot of people that I have to talk to, despite how I feel.
Right. Regardless of the mood, yeah.
But oftentimes, you know, if I have a really busy day where we're just out all day, or, you know, doing presentations and going to different events and things of that nature, then the next day that I'm able to work from home, I do.
You said,
right?
Don't think I'm coming in this office.
Right, and not be around a lot of people, just to recharge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you say that the golf is your favorite part of self-care? Would you put that in the self-care? Because, you know, a lot of people think, oh, I'll go to the spa and get a massage. But is that your go-to for self-care? Is it allows you to kind of get into that space?
Yeah, it's kind of meditative for me.
But decompress from everything.
So that helps a lot. Now, don't get me wrong.
Okay.
I do love a good spa day.
Okay.
You know, I like to go get my nails and my lashes done. I take my nap during while I get my lashes done.
Yes, ma'am.
But no, I do really, really enjoy that. But other times, sometimes it might just be, you know, sleeping in and not answering my phone.
And having a slow
honestly.
morning. Okay, that's awesome.
Like on weekends, and where I'm just like, okay, I can't do anything social right now. Like, I need a break.
You need to recharge your battery, and I think that's a really valid, true thing. I'm glad to have you on, because you're just such a calm presence. And I keep saying it's important to see different people in different elements and places where they're going and they're growing. And I'm glad to hear that you are having a great experience with PRT and you're not scratching at the walls like, I gotta get up out of here. I don't think that would have been the case. We wouldn't have been on the bus.
Right.
We wouldn't.
No, I love it.
I'm about to say we wouldn't have been on the bus. So, and I think that's something too. A lot of people feel like they have to leave Pittsburgh in order to find success or to feel like they have anything going on, and I don't believe that. I'm not somebody who believes that.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the move, the great migration away from Pittsburgh, and then eventually coming back home because you realize that it's home? Some people don't come back, but I feel like a lot of people do, because you kind of can see the difference in how you were raised. Yeah. That's a big deal. Yeah. I couldn't make it in New York, and I always wanted to move to New York, but when I actually started to go up to New York, I said, they don't say, thank you, please, excuse me.
There aren't many places like Pittsburgh.
No, there's not.
So I never moved away. And in between jobs, when I was in the market for this position and my last position, when I was in the market, I looked a lot of other places.
Okay, so the thought of leaving was always
I've considered
there.
it,
okay.
yeah. But it wasn't necessarily because I didn't think that there was opportunity in Pittsburgh. Somehow, some way, things just always worked out for me. I know that isn't the norm for most people in Pittsburgh, especially people that look like us, right?
Absolutely.
When we talk about Pittsburgh being the most livable city, but also the worst city in the country for people who look like us.
Absolutely.
Especially women.
That's the craziest. Yeah. That's the craziest statistics, and that headline gets eaten apart every time it comes out. It's like, for who?
Yeah, exactly. And so I recognize that it's not necessarily that for me. But Pittsburgh is a place that, I don't know, I've grown to love, right? As I was growing up, and then I have friends coming to town, different things like that, or sometimes just on my own with my friend group. You know, we'll do like a staycation here and explore Pittsburgh because there's so much that you can do that you wouldn't normally do on your day-to-day basis. Right. It's like when you meet people in LA who've never gone to the beach. Right. And it's right there. Sad. You know?
Or people who live in New York who don't go to the Empire State Building, or who don't go to see the Statue of Liberty because it's just taken for granted. It's like, okay, it's there. Like, take the incline, romanticize Pittsburgh. There's a lot of people who do come to the city, especially college students. Yeah. And I'm not going to say that I was like jealous or anything, because I don't like to use that word, but I was a little bit motivated to want to highlight the things in my city too, which I always have, but just probably not in the way that the younger kids are doing it and utilizing social media and things like that. But it's always somebody who's not from here that just comes here and just gives all of their think pieces about everything, and then we get riled up. We're like, hold on, wait a minute. Right. You mean you went to Kennywood and you didn't appreciate the potato patch fries?
Yes, because that is the best part.
Who are you, and why are you giving your commentary about the city? So no, but I think that it is cool when we do have people who are not from here who want to romanticize the city, but I'm encouraging everybody who's from here, who's still here, who actually likes being here, to also romanticize it too.
I think that a big part of it goes back to what we talked about with community, right? Like, I've always been very intentional about building my community. Whatever that might look like, whatever my need is, I'm focused on, okay, who are the people that I know I need to have around me in order to be successful in this endeavor, right? And so for me, like, throughout school, so I went to CCAC, and I went to Pitt for undergrad and then grad. And even like my journey into getting to where I am now, as far as my career is concerned, at Pitt in undergrad, I had a professor who, you know, she saw me, she saw my work ethic, she appreciated, you know, my insight in the classroom, things of that nature. And my daughter was at Winchester Thurston at the time, and I would bring her to class sometimes when I had to. And I remember it was like finals week and we're studying, and she's in the corner playing with my daughter so I can have group study, right? That's awesome. But like, she was someone who was really important and you know, making sure that I came get to where I needed to be, get done what I needed to get done. She also went over to CATS, to the grad school, and talked to them about me and said, hey, you'll be the perfect candidate for our MAC program, Masters in Accounting program. I already talked to them. They have a scholarship for you. You just need to go over there.
That's beautiful.
And so I did that.
Wow.
And at the same time, again, one of my clients, and we had some other connections as well, but connected me to the person who gave me my first accounting job, Andrew Wimbish. He was the biggest mentor that I've had so far in accounting, and he had his own accounting firm back before I was even in school or anything like that. Wow. He had a firm with a man named Alan Terry and Sam Stevenson. It was called Terry Stevenson, if I'm not mistaken. It was one of the only Black-owned accounting CPA firms in this area. They were acquired by Baker Tilly, and you know, he worked there for a while, and then he went and started his own company again, and that's when he hired me. And he hired me because he said, you know, I appreciated the fact that you worked hard, you're in school, and you know, raising your daughter, and you're working full time and making the way for yourself. So you're somebody I know I can rely on.
Absolutely.
As an employee.
The proof was in the pudding.
And essentially it was because of him that I was able to get the job at PCHS.
Okay.
Their CFO at the time was going to be retiring soon. The CEO hired me as controller and someone else as the associate director of finance. We were both there, and it was going to be out of the two of us to get the CFO role, and then I ended up with the role.
Wow.
But from working in that organization, which, you know, was a smaller nonprofit healthcare organization, but but I got to touch so many things, right? We had several different locations, facilities. I oversaw, obviously all of our accounting and reporting, compliance, heavily subsidized federally, and so overseeing all of that compliance, but then also, all of the other things I did a lot with HR, payroll, setting up systems, shifting softwares, things of that nature. So I got to touch a lot because it was such a small organization.
That's awesome.
But that's what gave me the experience to get here.
That's awesome.
And so that was kind of what happened next. There was a woman, and I said that I don't remember her name at the moment, but she owned basically like a talent search firm.
Okay.
And we never met. She didn't know me, but on LinkedIn, she sent me the information for this position. It's like, I don't know if it's something that you're interested in, but I think you'd be a good fit if you're interested in it. Send your information to our chief HR officer at PRT. And then I looked at it and I was like, oh, I could do this. And
this is everything in my wheelhouse. That is so dope.
But it was only because of, like the people who saw something in me and took me under their wing, mentored me, became a part of my community, and allowed me to be a part of theirs, that, helped me get to where I am. And I think that growing up, and you experience this a lot in Pittsburgh, where a lot of people feel like they just can carry everything on their own shoulders. They don't ask for help. They don't share their stories. They don't. And it's not to like point a finger or fault anyone. It's just not something that we're readily taught, or that it's
a very humble city,
right? It's not like it's not something that you're comfortable in doing, right? But for me, like that has always been what has helped me get to where I need to be, or understand the things I need to understand, learn the things I need to learn, and get exposed and have access to the things that will get me to that next level.
So I like to ask my guests, because I'm very big on faith, how far has your faith gotten you? And I honestly can see how far it's gotten you with you, everything that you just said. I don't believe in coincidences at all. So it's clear that you are a faithful person, and you did mention church. So elaborate on just how strong your faith is, and to have a moment of gratitude, if you would like.
Oh yeah, and that's interesting because like on my way into the office this morning, I'm just like, oh my God, like thank you for allowing me to have the life that I live, right? And providing the ways, for me to be able to figure things out, providing, the resources and the people, putting the right people in the right places at all times, right? Or even just the right circumstances. There are so many times in my life where, I would always think, just this one decision for whatever reason changed the trajectory of what this could have been, and for it to be a positive thing. And, I have no other explanation but God, right? I remember it was Mother's Day. I was in Alabama. My grandmother lived in Alabama. And I have cousins who graduated from college in Alabama. Okay. So I went down, spend the weekend with my grandmother, and go to the graduation. And I would fly into Atlanta, drive to Montgomery, because it was just the most practical way to get there. Okay. And then drive up to Huntsville, is where they went to school, which is about like a 2-3 hour drive, and then drive back down. Okay. And when I picked up the rental at the Atlanta airport, they gave us this rental car, and it was bigger than the one we ended up with. It was a truck, but it was bigger, and there was something going on with it, and I was like, I don't want this car. Like, give me a different car, and they gave me a smaller SUV. And then for some reason along the ride, Amina was sitting in a seat in the middle maybe, but she pulled the seatbelt all the way over from the driver's side. Yeah, because the middle seatbelt didn't work. I'm like, well, hey, like you need to pick a seat then that actually has a seatbelt that works. Don't just, pull the seatbelt over. So driving back from my grandmother's house to get back to the airport in Atlanta, there was some traffic, and there was this white like SUV, maybe it was a Suburban or a Tahoe, something like that, and they like swerved, ran me off of the road, right? Oh. And my car tilted. It was literally on 2 wheels. Somehow it tilted back over, and I think like even with Amina's 50 pounds or however much she weighed at the time, maybe 60, 70 pounds, if she were in the middle versus if she was on the same side as me, right? We probably would have rolled instead of that counterpoint. Also, if we were in that larger vehicle,
it would have definitely tipped over.
We would have rolled. And there were people behind us. Because in that moment when that happened and the person kept driving, and my faith in humanity died in that second. Of course. And I completely broke, right? So how dare you have such a disregard for not only my life, but my baby's life too. But there were people who were behind us who saw everything, who stopped 2 cars. It was a family and like another lady, and they came over and immediately it was restored that fast, right? They stayed with us, they held us, like I cried, and the police came. But she described, because I didn't even realize that the car tipped in that way. She described it, and it was like a down tree, rotted, that stopped us once we went off of the road.
You're gonna make me tear up because the stories like that I be like.
And it's, when you think about like a series of unfortunate events, but also a series of fortunate events, right? Because if any one of these little things did not happen the way that they happened, right? Anything could have happened. The outcome could have been very different.
That's the part when you sit and think about the tree that was right there that stopped y'all from going further. Just those little pieces of the puzzle that are just like, when you sit back and think about it, you're like, it's something so small.
Yep. I'm like the car decision, the seatbelt issue. Because what if there wasn't a seatbelt issue? What if that tree hadn't downed,
It had you told her not to pick a side and she had to go to the other side or whatever. Right. Like you said, that's, yep.
And even the people who stopped, that made a difference in my insurance claim because they were also able to bear witness to what happened, right? And so there were just so many different things that occurred where I'm just like, it was terrifying, obviously, but also, like, I'm just forever grateful because I know that there's a plan, and I see it, and things that happen in my life every day, the way that things work out in my life every day, and in the people who I love as well, and the people around me. So I try to stay positive in that way, and I'm thankful in that way too.
Praise him. Yeah. Praise him. Okay, but no, seriously, that was. Yeah, you got some tears out of me, babes. Because I'm just like in that moment. I know everything that you felt was just in your chest and in your shoulders, and in your first thought is your child. But yeah, there are good people out here, and I'm so happy that faith was restored immediately because it doesn't always happen like that. You go through a very bad experience, somebody gets robbed, and now they forever think that a certain type of person is just out to do them wrong. You know what I'm saying? So, or just feeling like I have to do everything on myself. I can't depend on anybody. We got ran off the road. It put a negative stone in you, and then I could have grew into something else, but it didn't.
Yeah, and I also believe everyone's journey is different, right? And for someone who could do something like that, right? Whatever is meant for them will happen.
Absolutely.
Whatever is meant for me will be right.
Absolutely.
And thankfully, I'm not in a situation where these awful things happened because of it, right?
No, no. Now that person dealing with their karmic energy and doing something like that, they have to deal with that. You'll never know. You don't even know that person.
And the officer said that happens often on that road. That it's something that people do all the time. I'm like, wow, that's awful.
Wow.
But yeah.
What road were you on? This is come from Alabama.
I don't remember. This is driving from Alabama into Atlanta airport. So at this point, I think we were in Georgia.
Okay.
But I don't remember the road.
So it
was a highway.
You made it back safely.
The next day, we missed our flight, but
you probably just needed to rest that day. That was a little bit traumatic. We're going to sit down for the night. All right, to wrap up the interview, I would like to know what you would tell your 12-year-old self, 12-year-old being in that pivotal moment where you're trying to like, we really don't know who we are until we about to turn 30. But 12 is just like whoa. Everything. What is this? What is life? What am I supposed to do? You have goals and dreams. You got friends that you might lose. You got friends that might not ever be a friend past that grade level. But what would you tell yourself?
I'm trying to think. Like when I was 12, I was 6th grade maybe. Maybe 5th grade, somewhere around there. We were the house that we lived in caught fire, and it was a total loss. And so we lived, I think through the Salvation Army, there was a shelter that we were put in on the north side, Manchester. And I thought it was the coolest place because there were 2 floors. The first floor my family lived on, the second floor another family lived on, and then there was up in the attic, there was a man, and he probably would be like the man in the scary movies that the kids run from. But he lived all the way up in the attic, and his job was just kind of like to tend to the house, get things that we needed, blah, blah, blah. And it was like an extended field trip for me, I guess, right? But it was, my mom was under like tremendous stress, and my siblings were all just kind of, for me, I was was going along with it.
Right,
The bookmobile used to come, which is my favorite. Growing up, my escape was always books, and so I liked that a lot. I had like a little playground in the back with like a sandbox. But at that time, like I also, I was, figure 12 going into 13, and Missy and I were talking about this in the car, like how 13 is just such a rough age.
Yeah.
You're trying to figure out who you are, find your space. You're getting into puberty, wanting to start to dress different, things of that nature. And I think that my 12-year-old self, I would say that like she, I would tell her that she is beautiful, right? That she's brilliant, that she just needs to keep the faith because she will do great things, and just to continue to be herself. And, as an adult, right, because, we have our childhood and then we become adults and we have to work on who we are as people, right, and work on healing from our childhood. And I think, like, as an adult, my personal mission and vision statement has been to be just that, right? Use the tools that I have available to me to make a difference in the lives around me, for my family, my loved ones, communities around me. People who come from places that I come from, who don't think that I didn't have some of the experiences that I have, but not knowing yet that whenever your teacher in kindergarten is telling you could become the next president, you really could be,
you really
right?
could be.
Obviously, I'm like, oh yeah, sure, right? But no, you actually could be. But the things that keep people from being able to realize that is seeing someone who they can identify with actually doing those things, and also having access to those communities where there is the possibility, right, and not being boxed in. And so I think that I try to make sure that I can be the type of adult that the 12-year-old me needed. And then, obviously as I met and found those people, I latched onto them because they brought me up.
Right.
To get to where I am now. But definitely, I would tell her those things.
Sounds beautiful, and I'm sure she would be so proud of you right now. She'd be like, we did what? We did hair and we're the CFO? We count people's money. But no, that was a great everyday conversation with Miss Brown. A round of applause. Woo! Thank you so much for your time. And allowing us to be like one of your first interviews, and I hope this isn't the last one because you need to be. I can see you being the spokesperson for several things, just going on Pittsburgh Today Live and just talking about whatever.
Yeah, this is the first time I'm doing like an interview being recorded, and I know other people will see it later in life. Talking about myself.
They're going to be very proud of you.
So it was a little unnerving, but no, it's cool.
I'm glad. I'm here to shake the table, okay?
Apparently,
and it's going to be great. I can't wait to see it. No, you did great.
Thank you.
Love your story.
Thank you.